Hello Toy Collector fans, Universal Toy Collector here and welcome to the channel. And welcome to another episode of My Collecting Life, the series where I get to speak to you, members of the toy collecting community, about your own personal collections, finding out what got you into collecting in the first place and what gives you that toy collecting buzz. Okay, so who do we have on this week's episode? Well, why don't we find out? Let's take a look at some of his collection in a musical montage. Okay, so yet again, another absolutely fantastic collection. These collections never fail to disappoint, and neither do the way they're displayed. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome to the channel today, Bradley from Rocket City Sith. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Stu, for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Can I just say, before we start, I've been chatting to you backstage. I was thinking, who do you remind me of with your voice? And you remind me of Eugene off of The Walking Dead. I was sitting there thinking, he sounds familiar.
That is better
Brilliant.
than some of the stuff that I get. I get Forrest Gump a lot, and I'm like, oh, come
Oh,
on.
really? Oh, no. I'll go Eugene. I'll go Eugene from Walking Dead.
That sounds great.
So I'm gonna have that in my head all interview now. So you said you watched a few of the episodes, so you know what it's about. 10 questions, all about you. Runtime roughly about an hour. If we go over, who cares? Who cares? So let's crack on. First question: what are your childhood memories, and what toy lines were you into?
Star Wars was a big part of it. My aunt actually, when I was a kid, would have a card back, and she would check off figures that she would buy for me. And every time I'd come and see her, I'd have a new figure waiting for me. She was probably the biggest push on my Star Wars collecting. As you know, and then there was 2 Christmases I remember getting the Y-wing. I got 1 year I got the Cloud car with the Hoth battle play set, which was pretty awesome. But you know, after that, you know, it sort of died, and GI Joe became a real big thing, which I see that you are somewhat big into it as well.
Yes, yeah, I've got a few GI Joes.
Yeah, and I, you know, from that, playing with your neighbors, your friends, and everything, you know, it was all about sort of like role playing with the figures, and then you would sort of take that a step further, and then when you would do your own like exploring or whatever in fields or something, you'd be acting like these characters. So you know, like leadership roles for toys was something that I always liked. I always liked to be like Duke, or I wanted to be Luke or Darth Vader, or so I wanted to be the head honcho or something. So it was that was a big part, you know. And as far as other things, you know, it was like I loved Voltron, Keith the Black Lion, that was my favorite. Then you had GoBots.
I remember the GoBots.
Yeah, GoBots. Yeah, a lot of people don't remember it, but I just remember the figure leader one. I had that, and I had Psykill, the enemy leader. But I just remember his arms were made of a plastic, and they broke real easy because that's what held the wheel on the front of him. So, and then it came to Transformers, and you know, at the time, your parents sort of let you know when something's a little too high. I didn't get many of those, so but I did like the Transformers. And then I'd have a cousin that lived next door. He would actually his mother would get him any and everything, and he had a short attention span with all that stuff. So we would end up trading toys. I'd trade my old stuff for his new stuff, and I would always stay on top of things with that. So he would get the nicest, newest stuff, and I'm sure his mother did not appreciate it one bit, but she knew it would come back to the collection sometime point in time. So, and you know, the other thing about my childhood as far as toys and things, and this is going to really sound crazy, but you know, right now they're sort of celebrating like the 40th anniversary of ET, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
And that I was in second grade or first grade that year, and I was a huge ET fan, and I actually had to get my tonsils taken out that summer, and I had a 18-inch plush ET doll, and that doll went with me to the hospital. They gave him his own name band. He went to the operating room with me and everything. I was so scared. And I kept that forever. And my mother tried to give it away when I was about 14 to some kids across the street. And I went back and got it. It meant a lot to me. But now I don't know where it's at. It's gone.
Yeah. It's funny you should say about E.T. because that's one of my wife's favourite films. And I've got to say, I do really like E.T. and I thought it was a great film. And I can remember when it first came out, we sat and watched it at school. And I must have been, I think probably about 6 or something like that. And even back then, I was like a cheeky little chappy, like I would say, like not like mouthy or anything like that, but quite, you know, boyish and stuff like that. And we're sitting there watching the film, and I got really upset by watching that film. I really got upset, and I actually cried watching that film at the age of 6. And it surprised my teacher so much that she actually went to my mum and said, "I'm really surprised at your kid here. he has got like feelings and stuff like that, because he was the only one who was like sobbing in it. Well, I wasn't sobbing, I was like shed a couple of tears and stuff like that, but I'll never forget that. And I do like that film. So yeah, awesome.
We went and saw it in school too. I remember it was a really big to do. And when he was dying and turned white, that just, I don't know of any kid around me that wasn't sort of crying. I mean, here you are, you got, I want to say second grade. It might have been first, but anyway, we're sitting there boo-hooing and crying because we fell in love with this little alien, and now he's dying. But it was, it's just that stuff. It's what sort of grounds you to your feelings of things and your contact of stuff. So
definitely. So you're saying about your auntie was a big influence. Was she? So she was the one who predominantly bought you Star Wars, or was she the one that got you into Star Wars?
She predominantly was the buyer.
Okay. Wow.
I would get a new figure every week. And I know it was a yellow back card, so I know it was into the Return of the Jedi. So she fed on to what my parents would do for me for Christmas or something, because toys was Christmas, birthday, and that's it. Or a very special occasion. It wasn't nothing else. And my aunt spoiled me. I was the first of my mom. I mean, between me and my sister, I was the first. So she was doing everything to spoil me, and I would just I'd get there, and I can just remember just ripping those things off the card just to hurry up and get to the figure. I'm like, now I'm just like, I just hang my head in shame. It's like, no.
What? So you opened them? You were wow, because we didn't know any different then. I mean, as a kid, those were toys. They were to be played with. Do you know what I mean? So I'm surprised you say that. So you looking back now, if you could go back in time, would you tell your younger self, pack that in? No.
It wouldn't do any good. I would have opened it up anyway. I mean, John, the action figure grader, has got real big into the cards. I remember getting those, and we would put them in our spokes of our bicycle just to make racket.
Oh, wow.
I would have tons of them, and if I didn't do that, I made house of cards with them. So I'm like, man, I know I had all of them over and over and over again. And what I did to them, it's just like, I hate to say it, but I was probably like Sid in Toy Story when I was a kid. Toys didn't have a chance with me.
You were that
kid. Yeah, it's like, let's see. I mean, like Knight Rider. I remember I had the big Knight Rider that you press the license plate and he would do his speaking and everything. And I'd get Kit and I would push him off the top stairs down the stairs to see him crash.
Yeah.
And the poor thing didn't last long at all. I mean, you wanted to see him turbo boost and everything, and the front bumper come off and the doors come off.
I mean, to be fair, toys were made to last back then, I think. They were. I mean, I didn't abuse my toys. I wasn't any kind of Sid, but I would tend to be a bit rough with them, but I would be upset and gutted if anything ever broke or something snapped off. Do you know what I mean? I'd be mindful not to go my way to break them or what have you. But I think toys of today, I don't know. I don't think they stand up as well as toys of yesteryear, so to speak.
No, I don't either. I mean, now here we are adults and we're trying to help do their quality control for them. But but we know what they're going through, and it's sort of sad. I mean, I look at all this stuff. I love it. I love looking at it. I think of us as preservers of our history and toys in a way, be it the new, the old, whatever. But in a way, we're sort of taken away from the kids of today. They it's like, well, we got them another line and everything. You can't go and find a figure on the shelf just right away. Those days will never come back.
No, I think it's a very different world we're living in now. I think we're living in a world where kids aren't really allowed to be kids anymore. No. You know what I mean? I mean, I love playtime. I loved playing with my toys. And I think kids these days get to a certain age and they've got their mobile phones with them. They've got their laptops. They've got their computer games. They've got their consoles. Do you know what I mean? It's
yes.
They want to do all these things, but I had an interesting chat with the guys from G.I. Joeberg, and they still play with their toys because they do PlayMotion, and I know Bob Hanson does the same as well from Bob Squad. But I just think it's such a shame because I don't feel kids these days have got that playability in them as much as what we did as kids. You know.
No, I think it feeds the imagination. What we did, what we didn't have, we made up. We would create it.
Yeah.
Things we would do with cardboard or paper or poster board. I mean, it fed our creativity in a large way. And now, you know, just like you said, these kids are so disconnected with that that, you know, you got virtual reality goggles for your gaming systems. You got your phone. It's not, and then it's also not really interacting with one another. You know, it's all done electronically. So I hate that. I really do.
No, that's a shame. But anyway, moving on. As a kid, which toy line would you say was your favorite and why? Because I know you said you had predominantly Star Wars, and then you got into G.I. Joe when Star Wars, and then obviously you like Transformers and stuff like that. So, what would you say was your favorite toy line as a kid?
I would be lying if I said Star Wars because my parents hated sci-fi stuff so much that when I got it was a treat. Yeah. Weird when it come to that kind of stuff. So G.I. Joe was probably the biggest toy line and the biggest part of my life. Yeah. It was, I mean, that's what was always in the toy box or in my hand most of the time. So, yeah, I would have to say G.I. Joe. I hate to say that as much as I love Star Wars, but it's just the truth.
No. Look, you had. I mean, I remember it was like Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Master of the Universe. I mean, they were the big four, definitely back when I was a kid. So, you know, I mean, either toy line, you know, I think they're just fantastic in their own right. I mean, Star Wars, you had that element of fantasy and stuff like that, and then G.I. Joe, there was like a touch of reality and stuff like that with the modern with the army looking vehicles and stuff like that. So I mean, as you know, did you have much G.I. Joe as a kid? Was it?
I did. You know, from the Sky Striker to the Havoc. I had the Hiss. I had the Raven, I believe it was, and another jet that was really futuristic, like, and all sorts of figures. I had a ton of those. Serpentor, which with the Hasbro 6-inch coming out, a lot of people getting it. And I thought one of your boxes was going to be that Serpentor in your opening video.
No, do you know what? I've had to cancel so many pre-orders, and that was unfortunately one of them that I cancelled. And I know and I've seen other people open it, and I've seen pictures, and I'm just sitting there going,
it looks just like the childhood one. It really
I know. I kind of am kicking myself, but the thing is that, you know, like say in this time that we're in at the moment with the cost of things and stuff like that, I just, you know, I couldn't justify it. I had to cut back, and that was unfortunately one of the lines that I've kind of cut back on. And but yeah, never mind.
Well, that's, you know, that's something that, you know, for me, I try to do PayPal so I can pay for it right then and there, because like right now, Amazon is shipping the 3-pack Obi-Wan Kenobi set. Hasbro Pulse is sending out the Rescue set. They just sent out the 4-pack Hoth Troopers. And then we're on the imminent release of the next wave of TVC. And I mean, thank God I've got them all paid for, but this is Christmas time. And a lot of people's wallets are not ready for their collections to grow. They need it to wait till January. And here it is. It's just coming right now.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only thing about that's what I found with the pre-orders. I had, you know, they were saying I was going to be like shipped in such and such and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, you know, but then like say everything comes on top of each other and stuff like that, and it was just eating into my budget. And I just thought I can't do this because it's not just 1 month. It's 1 month, then it's the following month, then the month after that, and it just adds up. And you know, I just thought I can't. So there's only certain things that I pre-order now. You know, the rest I'll just wait for the sales and then grab stuff. So yeah. Anyway, so when did you become aware you were a toy collector? I mean, you obviously you get to a certain age, and then kids not interested in toys, and then they go off and do other things. Did it happen to you, or did you stay true to and then carry on collecting toys all the way through?
I I was one of these kids that didn't really grow up through high school. I still had toys at home.
Mm.
But I mean, then you finally did grow up and life became life. But after, like I'd say late 90s, early 2000s, I got into, like, I'm a Darth Vader collector. So I went all out for the Darth Vader outfit. And that was one of the
Okay.
pictures I sent you. And
Yeah.
this is a Master FX. Master Replicas, Revenge of the Sith helmet. And it
Oh
was
wow.
high dollar. And this is
Yeah.
a Master Replicas Darth Vader reproduction hilt. And then I got the FX blade, and then I bought the Ruby's costume deluxe outfit. It came with a helmet, but the
Mm.
helmet was nothing like a Darth Vader to me. It was very cheap. So I
Mm.
would wear this expensive thing around with it for Halloween or
Wow.
whatever. Because at the time I was more so into replicas, like something from a
Yeah.
movie or something.
Mm.
I was actually going through my high school years. I had a friend get me into Star Trek,
Okay.
and I thought Star Trek was just, ugh, I don't know, I didn't like it for some reason when growing up. But then we went and saw Star Trek 6 in the theater, The Undiscovered Country, and I didn't know nothing about them. And here you
Mm.
are, you're trying to figure out who killed the Klingon chancellor and everything. And I was sitting there telling him, I bet it was that Mr. Spock. I bet it was Spock. I bet it was him. And then, and then I just found out how wrong I was. And I went head over heels into that. And then the coming years, the Franklin Mint had released the 3D chess set and then the dedication plaques for the Starship. So I bought all
Okay.
those.
Yeah.
And I love Star Trek. I like what it brings forth as far as a message and everything. But then now, as far as getting into the toys,
Mm.
and I blame my nephew, and usual Mike. I'll
Oh.
blame him first, and then I'll blame Tim. But the General Obi-Wan Kenobi had come out in the 6th series. That was a Walgreens exclusive with his armor and his brown cloak and everything from the Clone Wars, or the
Yeah.
Tartakovsky Clone
Yeah.
Wars. That figure, the quality of it, the realness of it, it grabbed me. I was like,
Mm.
wow, look what they're doing with this now. So I bought that and the Emperor from Amazon with the throne chair and everything, gave it to my nephew. And I was like, I'm going to start collecting this Black Series stuff. And then I went, I am a completionist. I can't stop. I can't have just part of it. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And it is still that way today, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I try not to get into too much. So that's why now it's just Star Wars,
Okay.
TVC.
Yeah.
But this room that I'm in right now, these shelves were filled with nothing but Black Series boxes. I had them all in order, everything. The Galaxy packaging, I had them turned where you could just see the mural all together. And
Yeah.
then, as we got into it, and I know that it exists in TVC right now, but the repackaging and everything, it just got old. It's like, why am I buying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? I'm
Mm.
tired of this. So then I got to watching, well, even Usual Mike even started focusing on TVC a lot more.
Mm.
And then I picked up Boss Bounty, Tim, and I was like, this is what hits home. This is what makes me think of my childhood when I'd go to my
Yeah.
aunt's. And I look at it and I still get that feeling of nostalgia from my childhood. So
Definitely.
I love it. And so it was not till about 2018, maybe 17, I got into the toys.
Wow.
and the other half does not like it at all.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
Wow.
but
Nah, not
being
keen.
tolerating, so I'm
Yeah.
appreciative.
Yeah. Oh, bless you. Yeah. That's does she buy you stuff then, or does she refuse to buy you?
No,
No.
no, 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 no,
No.
no, not at all. No, and then
Oh,
it's like now, Indiana Jones is coming out. The new trailer
okay.
just come
Yeah.
out, and
Yeah.
Indiana Jones was another thing. I don't ever remember the toys as a kid. I really don't.
No,
The
neither
only
do I.
thing
No. No.
I remember, I wanted a fedora, and I did get a bullwhip, and I learned how to use a bullwhip, and
Wow.
that was my Indiana Jones plan because I loved Indiana Jones. I mean,
They
an
were great films, weren't
archaeologist and
they?
an adventure,
Mm.
yes, yeah. It fed into that imagination of going out and doing stupid stuff that you shouldn't be doing in the field or on the creek or something. How you didn't get hurt or died doing it, I don't know. Maybe they just made us tougher back then. I don't know, but
Possibly.
here
There's every
I
possibility. Yeah. Yeah. I was
am.
going. So, are you looking forward to the new film? Well, I mean, what did you think of the Crystal Skull, or do you think they should have just kept it at the original trilogy?
Crystal Skull, I didn't like that one. It was I don't know, it just seemed just like oof, I'm going there. The last three Star Wars films, I just feel like it was sort of just pushed together just to get something out there.
Hmm.
But the fifth one, I don't know. I get that classic feel from it. And I think that it's not going to disappoint. I think it's going to, I mean, he's already told us this is it. So I think it's going
Hmm.
to either make us really happy or really happy and sad. So I
Yeah.
hope it just leaves us really happy in the end of
I've
it.
not, I've
But
not seen the trailer yet, so I need to catch up and catch the trailer for definite. But so the one question I was going to ask you a question a bit later, but I'll ask it now. So I was
yeah,
going to ask you what toy lines are you currently collecting? But you've just said I think it's just TVC, isn't it, that you're currently
just
collecting at the moment?
TVC. And
Yeah.
I do some of the hot toys. I
Okay.
do selective. I try to be selective. I cannot be a completionist with that. But
Yeah. Well, no, you can't.
there's
Otherwise, it's
no.
expensive, isn't it?
Yeah. The only other one I've got on the way is, well, not on the way, it's on pre order, is the
Hmm.
Darth Vader from Obi-Wan Kenobi, where his mask gets exposed, and
Oh wow.
I don't have a Vader yet, so and
Okay.
I think that one would be the definite best of the best right there. I'm hoping anyway. So
So
because
so with
he's
your TV. Oh, sorry, go on.
no, he's my focus character, so I
Yeah.
really want one. I waited for the right time for the right one.
No, fair enough. Definitely, definitely. I was going to say, where are you with your TVC collection at the moment? Are you caught up, or are you still trying to get
I I'm caught
most
up,
of
but
it? Yeah.
when you asked me a few months to do this, I was already getting in my head starting my YouTube channel back. And as I've gone through the series that I'm doing, where I take a wave and break it down and go over facts of it,
Mm,
I thought I was 100% even on variants. And going through the Blue Milk book, uh, TVC archive book, I have
mm.
found out there's more variants out there that I didn't know about. So
Oh wow.
I have a few that I've got to find,
Yeah.
probably about six or eight, unless I read more. I mean, it's funny. You get the book, and all you do is look at the pictures. You don't read everything, and when you start
That's it.
reading, it's like, no, there's another. So, yeah, I have everything. This was one of my, well, no, the Death Star 2 set from SDC was my last biggest one, and that
That
was
I got to say, that is, I was blown away when I saw that because I know I think Tim from Bosk's Bounty's got one as well, and
yes,
seeing you've got one as well. Wow, that is just phenomenal. I mean, I would love that. I really would, but there's just no chance. No
it
chance. Did you
was.
get it actually from San Diego, the Comic Con, or
Oh,
did you?
no, no, no. I just
No.
got that this year, but it came at
Oh
a
wow.
bargain price. And I said, it's now or never. You know, if you
Yeah.
can find it for 2,000, under 2,000, you've done good. But
Bloody
it's
hell.
anywhere from two
Wow.
to 3,200. So I found one. I just did it, and then the good thing is I had all the Revenge of the Jedi cards, other than the two that
Yeah.
came in the
Yeah.
specially in that. So I just
Mm.
turned around and sold that to help make it right instead of just frivolously spending money. because I don't like to have duplicates unless, like this Leia right here is a Canadian version, so
Okay.
or this one, so I didn't want to sell her versus the one that was in the box. So that. What else was there? Seems like there was something else I just got. Oh, and then the Yoda. It was punched, but it was like 3/4 of the price that you see online right now. And I was like, you know what? It's punched. I'll have it. I'll live with it. And if money just smiles and rains down on me one day, then maybe I'll find a unpunched one and I'll swap them around. So
So what was your feeling then when that Revenge of the Jedi set come through the post?
Oh, I was like, please tell me it's still available. Please, please. And when I sent the message, because I try not to do eBay because I know the prices are jacked up on eBay.
Yeah.
So I've got all sorts of groups I'm in, but it said this post is posted across different threads, and it had been up for a few hours, and I hurried up and messaged, and it was like 40 minutes, and it was the longest 40 minutes to get an answer. It's like it's still available, and I was like, sold. I will take it. So, and then when I got it, it really didn't disappoint. But I'm not going to take those figures out. I don't want to do anything to mess them up. I would, if money was not an issue, I would send it off to CAS or somebody and get it graded. Like somebody's got it graded where it's opened up.
Yeah.
And then got the little band that wraps it at the top. And it's beautiful. It's preserved. But right now it's just put up in a very safe place right now.
What condition was it in when it came? Because I know you guys have a lot of difficulties with your problems with your postal services out there with like parcels getting damaged and stuff like that. I mean, that must have been a scare, mustn't it?
It was, but believe it or not, the person I bought it from sent it in a big flat screen TV box with all the styrofoam around it and everything. So they did a really good job. So yeah, I was worried because I was like, if it's like the Republic gunship I bought earlier this year after looking and looking and looking for one. I was just like, oh, please don't put it in a box that's really tight where it will, get punctured and be damaged. It ain't gonna matter. I'll have it, but I'd rather it be as mint as it looked like when I was buying it. So yeah, and our postage is, it's tough. It's really
I've seen you guys having lots of issues with your mail and stuff like that, and damages that I can't get my head around that. I really can't.
Oh,
but when
Walmart,
that TV box,
the worst.
Walmart, yeah. I was going to say when that TV box turned up, your wife must have thought you were getting a new TV, didn't she?
No, I was here for that, so okay. That would have been a really hard conversation to have. So
yeah, geez, wowzers. Do you have a Grail piece? Is there one thing that you want in your collection above anything else right now at this moment?
I would like to have a 12A back Darth Vader. I would love that with the double telescoping saber. I've only got one. He's up here, a Return of the Jedi one.
Yeah.
But I would like to have that 12A back. I think that would, that's the best of the best that you can get as far as the oldest Darth Vader. That means it has a lot of history to it and everything. So that is what I would really like to have.
Okay. Do you have any of the vintage figures still?
I have these two are carded. I've got one that's carded at CAS. I actually had two. I had an ATST pilot on a Power of the Force card with the coin, and it was mint as could be. I sent it. They sent me an email saying the blister has fallen off. What do you want us to do with it? And I was just devastated. I'm like, what did y'all do to it? You jostle it around till the bubble come off, It was in perfect condition and you messed it up. So, but we came to an agreement on what to do. But then I'm working on the Kenner figures now, and I'm like down to 20-something figures to complete that.
Okay. So how are you getting on with the last 17?
I think I have 4 of the 17. So
Yeah,
I
God,
have
yeah.
10 of the coins, but only
Yeah.
4 of the figures. So I take it back. I've got a 5th one coming. I bought the what is it? The Imperial Gunner. Is that the one
Okay.
with the? Yeah, I just bought
Mm.
that one online from somebody overseas, and I'm just waiting patiently for it to get here and see how it
Wow.
looks.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I just love. I look at my Star Wars figures, my vintage ones, and I just like, yeah, they're great, and they. I mean,
oh, it's
I think the nostalgia when you look at those figures, you just think, wow, it just takes you right back to a kid. I mean, I look at modern day figures now, and I think that they're great the way their articulation and the way they're molded and stuff like that. But when it comes to 5p away, you just cannot beat the vintage Star Wars figures.
no,
I
you
don't
can't.
can.
Uh, Actually, one of the ICCC con that I went to in Nashville this year, I got to make friends with Nancy Flanagan, which was one of the
Okay.
sculptors of the Kenner figures, and
Oh
then
wow.
Steve Geddes, or Stephen Geddes, excuse me, and the stories that they told. I mean, we sat and ate lunch and breakfast and dinner together, and I learned so much from these people. And nowadays, I mean, they're still working. They're
Mm.
actually working for Super 7 doing the reaction figures.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, why would Hasbro not look to you guys to help do these new retro figures
Mm.
for the movies that are or shows that there was,
Yeah.
it's recent. Don't I mean, that's a whole other story. I know how we feel about that stuff, but why don't you use some original resource people with that and do something
Yeah,
with them?
definitely. Yeah.
That I think that would pique some people's interest in the retro a little more than people just trying
Yeah.
to make something, because the stories about when they would sculpt these figures and then they would cast them, that
Mm.
when the cast come apart, it had to be a clean come apart. It can't be
Yeah.
it get caught on something like we can do, I guess, multiple casts for stuff now. So it was
Mm.
very interesting learning how our childhood was put together by these people.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Definitely. I mean, you just mentioned it briefly there about your thoughts on the retro collection. What do you feel about the retro collection? Because obviously you're collecting the vintage Kenner now. I mean, would you be interested in getting those retro
I've got
collection
them
cards?
all.
Or yeah,
I I would rather stick to just TVC. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong, it's nice seeing them on a card, but the
mm.
weather in effect, if they know they're
Yeah, that's
collectors, that we don't want a
yeah,
weathered card, we want a mint card. So
mm.
make it look like that. Even do the shallower bubble, do something, make it as original as possible and not this. I mean, I get the nostalgia factor that they're trying to push into it, but I don't know. It
Mm.
sort
Because
of defeats the purpose a little bit.
what I don't get is the fact that they've gone for the retro collection to make it look like the retro card, but we like you say, a lot of people don't like the weathering around the side, and I know I'm one that doesn't. But Hasbro also have GI Joe, and they've done the same thing with their vintage line, haven't they? They brought the
Right.
retro Oving figures back, and they do the 2 packs. Now those cards are practically spitting image of the cards that we had as a kid. They've not had done the weathering around the outside. So why have they done it for the Star Wars, but they haven't done it for the GI Joe line? I don't get it. I got an idea why they've done it, but I don't buy it.
Well, yeah, because what is it? GI Joe. Hasbro owns the rights to GI Joe, so they don't
Yeah,
have to put no money into it like they do with Star Wars and everything. And I don't know if it's coming from Hasbro to do certain things. It could be Lucasfilm and Disney's like, hey, this is how we want you to present this.
mm,
Do this. I know we try to paint. I mean, we don't really try to paint Hasbro as the bad guy. And I mean, Lord knows it's not Disney. I mean, we don't want to say anything bad about Disney or Lucasfilm, but at the same time, we want they should listen to their fans, the customer. We're the ones that make their money. We're the ones spending the
mm,
money. Help us make you make more money, make you rich if you want to. I mean, you're
yeah,
already that. You're filthy. You're rolling in it. but listen to us and we can do it more
Yeah.
for you. But yeah, the retro figures, I get them just once again because I'm a completionist. I started it,
Mm.
and then when the prototype ones come out in 6 different colors, I have to go for that too. And thank God, Star Action Figures over there with you guys will give you one of each instead of duplicates of each. So
Oh,
thank
awesome.
God for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've, you know, there's certain things. I mean, I don't mind the retro collection as long as they're from the original trilogy. You know, I did end up getting stuff from the Mandalorian, which I gave away in a giveaway, but I won't buy them again. I won't buy them again. I just think the retro figures should be in the style of retro, obviously, but I think they should just be for the original trilogy. I mean, I know people will argue and say, well, there's room for both. Yes, there is. And I don't have a problem with that. My preference is I just like the original trilogy. So that's, you know, it's all about opinions.
Yeah, and I'm just, I'm waiting for the last half of the first 12 from A New
Yes.
Hope with the
Yeah,
metal
likewise. Yeah.
3PO and R2.
Mm.
Just wish it would hurry up, and I wish they would hurry up and release it. It was announced, 5 months ago, and now we have yet to
Yeah.
hear what to do to get it. So,
Yeah, definitely. What is your most prized piece in your collection? What is the bit that you would take with you if you had to run out quickly?
I'm a collectionist, so it'd have to be it all. No,
I
it
like
would,
that.
man, I still don't know the answer to that, but I guess this or this helmet right here, because these are my 2
Okay.
oldest pieces.
Yeah.
And it was something I always wanted, and I finally got it. I just remember it being, you know, 2 big achievements for 2 high-priced items, and it would probably be these 2 things. I hate to say it, but that's what it would be.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I asked the question, and you know, you answer it how you want to answer it. You know what I mean? It's no. That's fair. I mean, I would look around, and I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what I'd take. I mean,
It would be very
luckily, I don't have to
difficult.
answer that question, but it would be, yeah. It's, it is difficult. So, what made you decide to do a YouTube channel, and who were your influences?
There was actually a gentleman that's about 2 hours away from me. His name's Greg Cook, and he would do toy hunt videos.
Mm,
And I was like, I travel for a living and I have a lot of time in the evenings. I could do this kind of stuff all around the country. And and this was, I think, February of 2019. So this was at the beginning of the COVID. Uh, and I did 2 toy stores. The first 3 videos of my uh, channel is one store. It was the
mm,
largest store in Florida, and I broke it up into 3 segments. And I didn't feel like I had the knack for it, and I definitely didn't have the patience for it because I'm not worried about everything in the store. Here, I was trying to concentrate on what I think everybody might want to see when I'm
mm,
more worried about Star Wars. So, uh, then work and life got busy because in the store development part of my job where we are trying to put new stores together, renovate them and everything, people didn't want to work. So my workload got a lot heavier and you'd
mm,
just be too tired to do anything in the evening. So YouTube took a back seat, and then I was watching Usual Mike, I was watching Tim, I was watching John Rula. And then I was like, I would really like to do this, and I've got ideas. It's just I'm not that savvy with all the stuff, so I'm working on it. What I'm
mm.
turning out right now is probably it, hopefully in the future I'll look at it and say this is crap. I can't believe I did this, but you got to start from somewhere. You got to learn it.
Oh,
So now
goddamn,
I've
yeah.
just
Jeez.
yeah. So now I'm just trying to work with doing reviews, and
Mm,
I've got a lot of ideas. I would, interacting with like you or anybody else in the community, I would really like to do that a lot more because, you know, in my life and a lot of our collector friends' lives, we don't have people like this to talk to and bounce these ideas and thoughts off of. So, and the stories that you hear, you know, it's like, wow, I didn't think about that, or you know, that's a good idea, you know. So I've been trying to do that, and so doing an episode of just a wave and going over each figure and doing excerpts from the Blue Milk book to give like little facts of what they were thinking when they did it. And then it's just like the proof cards that they did at SDC in 2011 or whatever. I did not know that the whole purpose of those was to get collectors to buy into the fact of not just doing the original 96, but to say, hey, look, it would look really good if we did the prequel trilogy or the both prequel trilogies and add them on to card backs just as well. And that was one of the selling points. So I've learned a lot through just the few episodes I've done. But I also thank you, because whether you believe it or not, you are sort of an influencer, because of just seeing everybody wanting to do this kind of stuff in the community. I was like, I want to contribute and I want to do something too.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. I find it interesting. I think was it the first 10, 11 or 12 figures in the vintage collection? They were from The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. The first four waves were all about one movie.
Yeah.
And like the last episode I just finished was the first wave where they released multiple episodes in one wave, and they called it it was a fill-in wave, where the budget was at the end. They were having to do everything they could to pull pieces as cheaply as possible, so it couldn't be from just one movie. So I'm learning, but I thought it was very interesting that they started out doing nothing but one movie in each episode. And like you said, it was 11 or 12 figures in that first one of Empire Strikes Back, and I think there was like 6 or 7 of the original 96 introduced in that wave right there. So they had the intentions of it. And then, you know, there's like ideas bouncing around in my head of doing like a what if episode of what if TBC didn't stop after 2012 or whatever.
I wonder if Hasbro regret that. I wonder if Hasbro regret that.
I would,
because a lot of people are saying there was that. I mean, I know Nick from Only One Kenobi said they were wasted sort of like years.
They did with with the original card back. I mean, but they came out with some great 3.75 figures. It just wasn't on the original card back. And
no, yeah, that's right.
And it's, you know, it's really aggravating that today they could really crank them out if they wanted to, and doing the photo reel would really bring those things to life even more. But I don't know, it's just like we're being very hesitant to do anything or too much. And, you know, I get it to a certain extent. You know, people go back and they say, I want my Toys R Us back. I want a toy aisle and nothing but Star Wars. But having a retail background, it's not going to happen, because that stuff has got to sell and turn a profit, and not just be there for you to come and look at when you just want to go look at figures. You know, it's got to turn around, and that stuff, unfortunately, at the time wasn't. And with Hasbro and Lucasfilm, when a retailer buys into your product, they want you to give them a clearance insurance. So if it doesn't sell, you're going to give them the insurance to take a hit on it, where they're not losing any money. And Hasbro and Lucasfilm isn't going to do that. That's why you still see Lando peg warming, bless his heart. And when Leia comes out, and I don't understand it, it's just like poor Lando and Leia, when they come out, they hang on to those pegs forever. So it's really sad, but you know, at the same time, that's where Hasbro has really got to say, hey, this is what we need to put in here. We see that this is a dead item when we introduce it, so let's try not to do that. But instead, they go and say, let's put 2 of them in a case and just put one of all these that sell real good. I don't get it. I don't get their marketing.
I don't get it either. I mean, like stormtroopers and army builders, they're the ones that you thought that they would have sort of like overproduced, if you like, and put like more in the case and did more of those, because they're army builders and they must look at people on YouTube and see social media, and they must realize that people army build. So why send in like 2 or 3 Lukes or not Lukes, Leias and Landos when you should be sending in more troopers? So I mean, but then they decide to do these 4-pack builder troop builder things. I mean, they wouldn't have to do that if they just put the amount of troopers out there that people want to buy and army build.
Well, just like with the play sets, when they came out with what was it, the Tannin 4? Wait, was it the Tannin 4? I think you could only order one. Well, I mean, what's the point in giving you the option of? But no, it wasn't that. I'm sorry. It was the exclusives last year for the Black Series, the Obi-Wan Kenobi Cantina scene.
Oh,
and you only got part of the bar.
Yeah.
But it said you can build more of the bar if you buy more, but you can only buy one. So, why give them that gimmick when they're not going to allow them to buy anymore? So it was, why put a cap on something, especially when you're taking a pre-order? It's like, this is guaranteed money if we let them just buy till they buy, but I guess that's why I'm not in it.
I mean, I don't think there was. I mean, I can't remember peg warmers back in the day. I mean, the toy aisles used to be full of stuff, and and especially Christmas time and what have you. But I mean, on the whole, people bought it and it sold. So I like we said earlier, it's a different sort of like world we're living in now, isn't it? It's a different. You've got online and stuff like that, and it's all pre-orders and what have you. But for me, you can't beat that feeling of going into a shop and getting something and looking at it firsthand.
No. I mean, that's where your stories come from. Pre-ordering it and opening a box. There's no story to be told there. But going to a store and say, I found this figure behind blah, blah, blah. It was the greatest feeling when I found it because I've been looking for it, You don't get to hear those stories anymore.
No, I mean, I can imagine it. People are, my kids will be asking me, "Oh, so how did you?" And I, well, went in the shops and had a look around and traveled all around like my area to get this. But these days, it's like, how did you get those toys? Well, I just clicked online and just pressed a button and there you are. Yeah, it's as simple as that. There's nothing there, is there? Do you know what I mean?
No,
not good, is it?
I have more of a. I get to tell more. I got more of a story behind the vintage Kenner figures, find them in toy stores than I do the modern stuff. Something that come out yesterday. It's crazy, but it's. I mean, like you said, it's the world we live in right now, and
it is, and we. I don't suppose we're going to change anytime soon, is it? I guess.
No.
Anywho, moving on. Right, next question: is there one particular toy line you do not currently collect, but would be interested in starting to collect?
Let's see. I'm gonna say maybe if G.I. Joe, probably.
Yeah.
But it would probably be the 3 3/4 line.
Okay.
Because they're doing great things with it. I was on the cusp of back in the Sky Striker with HasLab, but I didn't. I don't know why. Oh, I guess it was a rabbit hole I wasn't ready to go into.
Okay.
But it would probably be G.I. Joe because, I mean, I really like what they're doing with it. I mean, and they give you, for a figure that was released in the 80s, I think the articulation points and everything that they gave G.I. Joe figures, I think that was amazing. And I think they stand strong to today.
Yeah.
And then you still get that card back feeling and everything. And when you opened up a box the other day of your 6 packages, I forget, it was a Cobra black vehicle. Yes.
Yeah.
And just that feeling, what you were, the awe and ooh that you had doing that.
There was it. I'm looking at it right now. I've not opened it yet, but it's awesome. I don't know what it is. It's just, again, it's like packaging, the colors, the vehicle itself, the figure inside. What I don't get is when they started doing their retro collection again, Hasbro, they went for the 25th anniversary, and everybody was expecting it to be the O-ring figures, and that didn't sort of like materialize. And then they were on about this Sky Striker, and I just thought, I won't go for it. And then I found out it was O-ring figures, and I was like, right, okay, yes. So I backed it, and then I've got the 2-packs and stuff like that they've done. But I wish, I hope they do more. I really do hope they do more.
I do too, because I mean, I bought some for a friend that was a big G.I. Joe fan, and for kids like for us when we were young, we learned how to fix those O-rings when they broke, or we knew how to fix them if they come undone. We knew our tricks to getting that done. And it wasn't a bad concept. The flexibility you got with your figure and everything was pretty awesome, I thought. So I mean, it's like I did buy a Cobra Commander because I never had Cobra Commander when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I love that figure. I think it was awesome. So, but actually, the Thompson twins were 2 of my favorite figures when I was growing up.
Okay.
And then Serpentor. I love that Serpentor.
Yeah. Don't, because I'm still about not getting that pre-order. I mean, that looks absolutely awesome. I mean, again with the classified series, I don't know what Hasbro were thinking when they first put those figures out. I mean, you had Duke, you had Scarlet, you had Roadblock, and you just thought that's not what we had as a kid. And what was the reasoning behind them doing it? I mean, was there a game that came out roughly around that same time and they thought they'd do the figures from the game? I don't know, but they've gone back now and they've redone Roadblock, and although he hasn't got Marjuice, and they've sort of like repainted Duke and Scarlet. But I'm hoping that they actually redo them and put them in the kit that they had when they were, back in the 80s.
I hope so as well. And if they do that, like I said, it could be a rabbit hole I try to go down. I will do it cautiously and not be a completionist about it. But that is something you are used to seeing when you were a child. That looks exactly like what you had as a child, and that's what rings a bell. And it's like, wow, I like that, because like you said, I mean, I go to a store, and even though I've already got everything I need, I've run to the toy aisle. I just want to see what they have. I want to see how the availability is, and you still get a little buzz off of it. It's like, they got some, so people are getting these, great,
Yeah.
And then
definitely.
when you say the same thing, it's just like, these have been here for 4 months. So
it's I mean, we went to the States a while back, a few weeks back, and I didn't get to a Target or a Walmart, so I didn't really get to see what they had. I mean, Walgreens didn't have anything. We went into a couple of Walgreens. They didn't have much there at all. But I remember going. I've been into a Target and a Walmart before, and I don't mind it. I think, wow, quite a good selection. But you did have. I don't know about now, but
I think I would enjoy the experience you got versus a Target or Walmart. So, especially at the time you were there, so you wouldn't have been disappointed, or you would have been disappointed. It's like, I'm wasting time here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I've got the last 2 questions for you. So here we go. What gives you that toy collecting buzz?
I think it's a matter of something new. Seeing everybody else get it and their reactions to it. Something you get to share with more people than just yourself. Especially in Discords or on Facebook or whatever, however you go about it. It's it's something new, and you get to get everybody else's opinions on it. It could be something you're really looking forward to. It's I think it's that, and and you're just you're feeling that nostalgia. It's life is difficult, and a little piece of plastic can just really diffuse all the stress in the world sometimes just looking at it and just taking
Mm,
you back to a much simpler time. So,
mm,
to me, that's what it is, I believe.
mm.
And it's just, purpose, you're preserving some, if you don't open it up, you're preserving some history
Yeah.
if you take care of it well. So, I mean, that's what I mean, setting these hot toys up back here, I'm finding out that I'm a better collector of inbox than playing around with something because I'm scared to move them around and afraid I'm going to break them. So, and I sat there, I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. This is taking too
Yeah.
long. But yeah, it's just the newness of it. Somebody said the smell of it.
Mm.
I don't quite remember a smell of my toys, except when I had a Darth Vader figure and I felt that he got too dull and I got some paint and spray painted him black again. So I just remember that terrible paint smell all the time and getting it all over my hands. So, but
Don't
yeah,
you remember
that's,
the old TIE fighter pilot?
oh yes.
Yeah,
And
old
when,
strawberry shortcake, whatever. Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
that's one I remember. Yeah.
it's funny talking about remembering them. There's one figure I remember. I didn't have him long. It was a Chewbacca. And
Okay.
during playtime at school one time, me and a friend was playing with our toys around a drainage pipe at the side of the school, and there was a crack in it, and my Chewbacca just went down that drain. That
Oh
crack,
no.
I lost him. So
Oh,
he got washed away. I probably didn't have
gutted.
him hardly any time at all, yeah. That's all right. He's replaced now in my collection, so
Awesome. Good stuff. You can't have a collection without Chewy. Gee
no,
whiz.
you can't.
You can't. Right. Okay. It has come to that time where I'm going to be asking you the last question.
Oh
What
boy.
does your collection mean to you? You knew this was coming.
Yes, I did. Uh Community, I think. I think it helps tie me to other people. Uh, I went to a convention, the convention I went to earlier this year. I got to meet people. I got to meet Gary Technomancer, and then I've made friends with all you guys through Discord. It's a I think it brings a lot of us together with similar ideas and ways of thinking, and I enjoy it. I do. It just talking about this stuff. Yes, it does has nothing to do with real life, but that's what we want to get away from. And I
Mhm.
enjoy it. I mean, picking with these people, you make new friends through a piece of plastic. Ain't that amazing? Or the love of
Definitely.
this stuff. And
Definitely.
I value that big time.
Definitely.
I
I mean, the amazing thing is, it doesn't matter what toy line it is. It can be Star Wars, it could be Master of the Universe, it could be Transformers. We've all got that connection. It's a toy. It's a bit of plastic. We are drawn to the nostalgia from the toys that we had as a kid, and we had a lot of decent toy lines back in the day, and and they stand the test of time because people are still collecting those toys. The retailers are still selling those kind of toys, and the production teams are still producing these kind of toys that we had as a kid. Why? Because it will never go away.
right. It's I know us as adults, we help carry the torch for it to some
Mm,
extent, and these toy companies put up with us, thank God. Uh, but for people that have kids, you know, maybe they'll see what you've got. It's like, what pulls you to this? I got a video game where they move and everything, or
yeah.
they come out with an Optimus Prime. It's like transform, and it does it all itself. You ain't got to do all that stuff no more.
Mm,
Uh, but it's just like it takes us, the friendships you had playing with people with your toys, the imagination that come out of what you did with your toys.
mm.
You can't buy that. You
No,
can't.
no. And what I will say is, yes, you can have a game on a console with the graphics that are absolutely fantastic, and it just looks amazing. but you are limited because you can't do any more than those graphics and that game will allow you to do. Whereas if you go and play, your imagination can take you anywhere. You can do any mission you want. You can choose. Do you know what I mean? You've got it's just limitless to what you can do with your imagination and play. You don't get that on a computer console.
No, and that's where this generation really misses out, I believe. And for the parents that try to instill this into their kids, those are the ones I think that are going to really do something and become something. Well, don't get me wrong, all of them will, but there's an element that this gives you that electronics just can't. Or, we're actually interacting. This is almost like being in front of you, and this is as good as it will get for till some certain time. But when you're playing a game, you might be talking to them and fighting them, but that's it. You're not in the you're in the moment of the game. You're not doing anything, playing a game. And here we are. We're talking about our childhoods, what it means to us, and our passion for it. And
yeah, definitely,
we live for that. We live for that. So
we do indeed. We do indeed. And with that, my friend, that has come to the end of the chat. It's been an absolute pleasure you being on the channel and talking to you actually face to face instead of over Discord. So I've really enjoyed it, mate. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Rocket City Sith on YouTube, Rocket City Sith on Facebook, and Rocket City Sith on Instagram.
And what I'll do is I shall put those links in the description below. But you also find out as to why Bradley has named his channel Rocket City Sith. I find it very interesting, and I love the reasoning behind it. Once again, mate, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this. It's been a pleasure chatting to you, mate, and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Stu. I really appreciate it, sir.
Okay, and I said to you at the beginning, I've got a bit of an announcement to make. This will be the last My Collecting Life for 2022. So I shall be back in the new year. I'm going to have a break from this simply because it's coming up to the Christmas period and I know people are going to be busy. So I would myself want to spend time with family and friends and stuff like that and interact face to face with people. And I know a lot of people will probably be doing the same thing, going to Christmas parties. So I will be back in the new year with My Collecting Life. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been involved in this series so far. To get to 22 episodes is, for me, I never thought this would happen. So people like yourself, Bradley, thank you so much. And what I'm going to do is after this video, there will be a montage of all the people with the episodes that I've taken, that have taken part in this series so far. I just want to thank you all because without you guys, I wouldn't have a series. So thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for doing this series.
No. It's been an absolute pleasure, my friend, and I'm loving every minute of it. Unfortunately, that is the end of the chat. Yes, well, I'll be back doing other videos, but I shall see you again in this for this series in the new year. Everybody, it has been Bradley from Rocket City Sith. What an absolute star you've been. Thank you so much. All I've got left to say is take care, see you soon. And if I don't speak to you all before, I'm wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Take care now, and bye-bye.